A very good morning to Dr. Fadila. We are Group 4. Today, we're going to present our assignment through this video with the topic of privacy. Okay, before we go to our case study, I will roughly explain about privacy. Privacy of information is a complicated idea that has changed a lot with new technology. The concept of privacy has been around for a while, but it has been harder and harder to keep private with the internet, social media, and big data. Many companies only do something about privacy problems after they happen instead of stopping them from happening in the first place. Also, different fields have different ideas about what privacy means. Experts recommend that future studies should consider different viewpoints and share practical solutions for better protecting people's privacy.
Definitions and importance. Informational privacy ensures the security and the safety of the personal data, embracing the appropriate collections, use, and storage of the such data. It highlights the need for fair practice in handling personal information to prevent misuse and unauthorized access. Next, we move to the personal data. Personal information, which can be linked directly or indirectly to an individuals, includes data from social media, behavior on platforms like Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok. This data is significant because it contains sensitive information that, if mishandled, can be lead to the privacy breach.
So next is privacy landscape in Malaysia. Malaysia Primary Data Protection Legislation is the Personal Data Act 2010 PDPA, which regulates the processing of personal data in commercial transaction. In 2023, Malaysia recorded the highest number of data breach cases with 50 incidents per week, primarily involving ransomware attacks. Ransomware attacks have targeted multiple sectors, including healthcare, finance, and government institutions. Public understanding of data privacy and protection in Malaysia remain sufficient, which can lead to leak of personal data. So, government and private sector collaboration is essential to improve overall cyber security landscape. So next, common issue that related to privacy in Malaysia. The Ministry of Communication and Digital says that a website is accused by leaking data. Maybank, Astro, and Suruhanjaya Pilihan Raya, which has SPR, have had a data leak, and they overcome by work with Cybersecurity Malaysia to get feedback about report data leak. The SPR website data leak will be sent to the National Cyber Security Agency for them to deal with because it's not covered by Act 709. In 2023, Malaysia was the 8th most breached country with 494,699 leaked accounts because of ransomware attacks or systems that are not well protected. For example, the real case study in Malaysia, which is Sid Manjils for Malaysian voyeur in Singapore who took upskirt videos of 142 women over 10 months. So the next real case study that happens in Malaysia is over 800,000 Malaysian personal data with photos allegedly stolen from MySPR site being sold for about 9,000 ringgit Malaysia. So the next real case study that happened in Malaysia is an exposed publish, which is a political consulting business, had obtained personal information from some 50 million Facebook users to micro-target political campaigns.
We have three case studies. The first one is informational versus constitutional privacy in Malaysia. In Malaysia, the changes in privacy laws show the difference between the privacy of personal information and the privacy protected by constitution. The Data Protection Acts in 1984 and 1998 were made to protect people's personal information and make sure it is collected, used, and stored in a fair and legal way. The Personal Data Protection Acts in 2010 and the Penal court deal with privacy, breaches, and crimes related to it. The federal constitution mostly protects privacy from the government, not from the private people. There's many important court cases. For example, like Sivarasa case shows the constitution recognized privacy rights. This means that individuals have power over their personal information and there are laws to protect them if their privacy is violated. Despite improvements, Malaysian privacy laws still have difficulties meeting worldwide standards and dealing with private information branches by non-governmental organizations.
Okay, next for case study 2, which is personal data. Personal data is important because it can be determined as a sensitive data for any individuals. Without a strict protection to personal data, it can be misused by any organization for any harmful activities. Personal data is sensitive information of an individuals that need to be strictly protected. Next, the Malaysian Department of Personal Data Protections actually has defined that personal data is also information that used in a direct way or indirect ways in a business transaction that can be known as a personal information. The government of Malaysia has formulated the Personal Data Protection Act, which is PDPA, in 2010 as a way to decrease the misuse of personal data by any organizations or any party that was not authorized. Several legal and provisions can help in controlling the illegal use of society data. The lack of personal data protection has led to 11 million Facebook users' data have been leaking, including the data of their name, their address, telephone numbers, relationship status, and so on. PDPA certainly lack protections for social media users' data because it only covers the protection of personal data regarding to the commercial transactions.
So I continue with case study 3 is law, regulation and indirect control over access to privacy. Privacy law instruments should promote procedural innovation and participate in the normative order of traditional media. Law is defined as a structure of social control backed and approved by the state power to define social interests, legal competitive and legal correction. The focus of regulatory data is on the produce, regulation, and regulatory compliance standards that must be met to create, store, utilize, share, and manage regulated data. The first privacy rule is the policy where the majority of legalists feel privacy agreements centered on major media and internet platforms gratefully define the harvesting and sale of your personal information. Furthermore, the next law or regulation is the privacy produce. Regarding data privacy regulation is the absence of a personal data categorized system. The system may allow individuals to selectively disclose relevant information rather than being informed to share unnecessary data. The goal of Malaysian privacy produce regulation is to control how personal data is processed. Next, indirect control over access to privacy in the both direct and indirect internet use. Internet privacy has been presented as a new component of the digital device, whereas people may avoid using online service due to concern about potential abuse of personal information. The power balance in the generating and used information is highly asymmetric in favor of institution. Policy play a critical role in balance power between individual privacy and public institutions. Internet intermediaries play an important role in digital communication. They use technology to limit access to information and serve as public curator. Social network platform is a shape society rather than simply facilitating communication. In the case the law must be careful to confuse the autonomy of emerging normative and privacy regulation with their naturalization.
Last but not least is the challenges in privacy. Malaysia has big problems with keeping data safe and protecting against cyber attacks. There are a lot of data breaches and advanced cyber threats. In 2023, Malaysia had 15 security breaches every week. These breaches often involve ransomware attacks. Many groups still use old security systems, which makes them open to danger. Many people do not know much about their rights to data privacy under the PDPA law. People need to understand more about how their data is protected. It is very important for both sides. Next is the future direction of privacy. In the future, we want to make the rules about personal data more like ones in other countries, work together with companies to make the internet safer, and teach people how to stay safe online. Solving these problems will make ICT privacy stronger and keep personal information safer in Malaysia.
Conclusions: the evolving landscape of ICT privacy in Malaysia reveal a lack of public awareness about data privacy, making individuals vulnerable to cyber attacks. Continuous educational campaigns are needed to build an understanding of data protections. Many organizations have indicated security measures, resulting in serious privacy violations, thus necessitating stronger cybersecurity protocols. Enhancing laws like Personal Data Protection Act (PDPA) to keep pace with the evolving threats and align with global standards is crucial. Public-private collaboration is essential for developing robust cybersecurity strategy to ensure better protections of personal data and improving national security.